Hello beer lovers, welcome to my very first Homebrew Wednesday. Today we're going to be brewing this Geordie bitter kit and I'm going to add the Muntons beer kit enhancer. Okay, before we get started we need to make sure that everything that we use is clean and sterilised. So into my fermentation bucket I've added 5 litres of water and some sterilising liquid and a plastic spoon that we'll need later. Put the lid on, shake the fluid around to make sure that you clean the inside and leave it for 20 minutes. Okay, inside the Geordie bitter can, if I just open it up, you see inside we've got some instructions, get rid of those, and a packet of yeast. Okay, what I've now done is taken the label off of the Geordie bitter can and pop it in a saucepan of hot water but not boiling, and I'll leave that in there for about 10 minutes to soften up the malt extract. Okay, first things first. Let's get brewing. Okay, so now we're ready to brew, and what I've just done, if you can hear, is I've put the kettle on because we're going to need some boiling water. But first I've put some cold water into the ferment bucket, about a litre or two, and I'm going to add in the Muntons beer enhancer kit. So I know that if you put it in when the water's boiling that it all clumps together. So I'm going to add this in now and hope that I can do it without it all sticking together. So I'll pop that in there now. Mix that up with the mix. Let's get a bit more in there. There we go. That's all in. I've got my kettles boiling in the background. Hopefully this is going to melt without going too lumpy. Oh, that smells delicious. Now the instructions tell you to put the malt can in first, and normally that's what I do. The beer that I've done previous has mostly been 2 can kits. You don't need to add any malt or anything like that, or beer enhancer rather. So you just put the 2 cans in with the water. Okay, so the kettle's ready, so I'll add some boiling water in there just any sec. Okay, so all good so far. I've popped another kettle of water on that we'll need in a moment, but next I'm going to open the can of malt. Okay, so the malt's open, here it is. Now the tin's normally quite hot. I picked it up out of the hot water with the towel. Now I'm going to transfer this straight into my fermenter. In she goes. Yum yum yum. There we go. And then when the kettle's boiled, I'll just fill the tin up with hot water so that I can get the rest of the malt that's left in there, get that out, pop that into the fermenter as well, so there's no waste. And I can hear the kettle boiling just now. Okay, so boiling water into the can, make sure we get the sides, fill it up nicely. Just get our spoon, pop the spoon in, give that a nice stir, make sure we get all the malt out of the sides. Okay, now this will be a two-handed job because that tin's going to be quite hot. So I'll be back with you in just a moment. Okay, the rest of the malt out of the tin and the hot water is in the fermenter. So now we just need to give it a good stir for a couple of minutes. Make sure the ingredients are nicely melted. At this stage we also want to get some air into the beer, so it's fine if you stir it around a little bit vigorously, make a few bubbles. Now that we've done this, all we need to do now is top it up to 22 litres with cold water. Now I'm using tap water. I normally use filtered water, but tap water should be fine as well. Okay, so here we go, I've got some water here. Pop the top off. I can carefully do this with one hand, probably not. In goes the water. I won't just splash it too much. Okay, so that needs topping up to 22 litres. I'll be back in a sec when I've done that. Okay, here's our beer fermenter, topped up to just over 22 litres with cold water. I've got my hydrometer in there just to check the estimated beer strength. It started off at 134. I've added a sneaky bit of sugar in, about 200 grams, that's pushed it up to 1040. That should give us a beer around something like 4.2 to 4.5% when we're done. Okay, so I'll just take that out. Just give the beer another stir. I've checked the temperature of the beer at the moment and it comes out at around 23 degrees, which is just about perfect for what we want for dropping the yeast in. If you don't have a thermometer or anything to measure the temperature, again make sure it's sterilised before you put it in the beer. Then what I usually do is just leave the beer for about 15 minutes to cool down a bit and then drop the yeast in. Again, give it a nice big stir. Just get some air into the beer. Make sure it's all mixed in at the bottom. That's all we need to do. So what we'll do next, just get the sachet of yeast here. I'll just cut it open. I'll just sprinkle it on the top. There we go. Just pop that on. Grab our spoon and just like to lightly just stir it in. Just gently stir it in. Doesn't have to be anything aggressive. Okay, that's it. Now the top just goes on loosely. Don't need an airlock or anything, just leave it on loose. I'll put that at the back here where it's reasonably warm, and we'll leave it there for about 10 days. We'll come back and we'll see how it does tomorrow. Okay, here we are, 24 hours after brewing the beer. I'll just open the lid up here so you can see. It's got a nice head on it. Looks like it's been bubbling away nicely. And so we'll just put the lid back on and we'll leave that for about another 9 days, and then we'll be ready to bottle up. I put a little bit of tape over the air hole to stop any nasties getting in, and that's it. Job done.